Well, I should probably put my face on here at some point. Whether it's working or not, I need to know whether it's working. YouTube is funky compared to Twitch. I don't know whether I've got things working now. I got multiple chats going, I think, on the old stream and the new one that I set up, so let me know what you're seeing or hearing or not. Well, I still got funkiness because the chat is disconnected between two different live streams now, apparently. There's all sorts of, it's complicated. I knew I was going to run into a problem, but, yeah. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get that chat to work properly. Let's see. I'm assuming you're seeing and hearing me. I'm watching the YouTube chat to try to verify that, so let me know in one of the chats. Yeah, it gets complicated. I've got to be logged into the right accounts and the right pieces of software at the right times in order for things to work properly. Well, by all good now, you can probably see me and hear me, but the chat's still not working quite right, so... But yeah, that's the chat I'm trying to get working on the screen. Don't need Twitch chat. Nobody go to Twitch and chat. Let me try one more thing here. So many buttons to push, so many screens to look at. Not that one. Yeah, Steam or YouTube gives me a different damn key each time I start a stream, apparently, which is what's causing part of my confusion. And I think there's a much longer delay on YouTube than there is on Twitch, which I have to get used to, especially for chat messages, and even me just trying to look at the broadcast information. It's massively delayed compared to Twitch, so that's throwing me off a bit as well. It's been a long time since I did a YouTube direct live stream, so sorry for the problems. Part of the growing process. Let's see. I think I'm going to have to give up on the chat for now. Let me just take it off the screen. It's going to be too much effort to try to get that thing working. Oh, wait. New information showing up. Where is that coming from, though? Oh, hey, it is showing up now. So YouTube chat. Yeah, it's coordinating now. So I only had to wait 5 minutes before it finally started doing something useful. I changed nothing. I did nothing. It just decided to start working. Oh, and it's actually really, really quick. It's working really fast. The chat is. All right. Well, howdy. That was an auspicious start. Thanks for showing up, folks. Appreciate it. Who we got? my Streamlabs isn't telling me. Yeah, we got a few folks showing up. Alright, I gotta figure out where I'm gonna store things here on my screen. I think we're okay on most of it. Hey, just move a few things around here and we'll get moving. Next one will be a little smoother. Yeah, it's definitely not a bandwidth or any of that kind of problem. And chat is keeping up. I mean, I'm seeing the chat instantly. I have both the YouTube chat window open and I have the broadcast stream open. Now, what you guys see is going to be delayed slightly from what I'm seeing, but I'm seeing the messages appear on both at the same time. So it's being pretty snappy about putting the messages up. How much of a delay there is between you typing it and when you see it, I'm not sure. But that's partly due to YouTube. I know Rykon's seems to go pretty well. I may chat with him after this episode and see if there's any things he can recommend on changes. But this is the first time I've tried doing the good old... There we go. YouTube stuff. So we'll just roll with it. So let me bring up a few things. Alright, so the way I want this to work, and what this is, basically, as I mentioned in my notification, it's a monthly, it's going to be a monthly thing that we'll do, kind of similar to Rykon's and other channels, but every month I'll have a channel update / town hall live stream, so you guys can be brought up to date on what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, my thoughts and feelings, how the channel's doing, that kind of stuff. Won't take too much time with that generally. We'll do just some general chit-chat, Q&A type stuff. At the end of that, I'm going to switch over to a pure Cataclysm new player question and answer type thing. So for anybody that's watching right now, now's not the time to ask me Cataclysm questions. Hold that stuff if you are going to ask me any Cataclysm questions. That'll come a little bit later. I'll announce when we're going to do the changeover. And I'm hoping some new players are showing up that have some questions. This will be the first time I've tried this, and there wasn't a whole lot of notice for it. So we'll see. If there's ongoing interest in it, then I'll continue it as long as necessary. If there's a lot of interest, I may do it more often, at least the tutorial availability. But we'll kind of see. We'll play it by ear. But I thought it might be helpful for folks new to the game to have a live resource they can get some immediate feedback from, do some demonstrations in-game and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how it goes. And I know a lot of you guys I probably know from various sources, YouTube, Twitch, Discord, wherever, and you got your different names and it always drives me nuts. So pardon me if I don't recognize you or recognize the names. We'll see what we can do. I think I have the various notifications set up so that they should be showing on the broadcast. Like I said, it's a bit of a scramble for the YouTube side. I'm not as used to it, so hopefully the various bots and all that kind of stuff are working properly. We'll find out. So, onward. What to talk about? So, like I said, this is going to be a last Sunday of every month regular thing. It'll kind of morph in its form and format as time goes by, and I get better at the whole process and get feedback from you guys and girls and so on about what you want me to talk about or don't talk about. First thing I want to do, though, is thank everybody. Thanks very, very much. Really appreciate everybody's support, the kind comments, the feedback. It's been going great. So if you don't know, I'm a pretty calm guy. I'm patient. I'm calm. I'm happy to do my thing, let the channel grow. I did want to mention a few stats. I've never really talked too much about the progress of the channel, what my hopes and dreams may be, and all that kind of stuff. So a couple of notes. I did post my first video to YouTube on October 3rd, 2017. So we're about, what, 20 months or so into the odyssey that is the Twitch and YouTube stuff. Grown a bit since then, so we're currently at about 4660 subs on YouTube, and what was the last count on Twitch? I forget. What are we on Twitch? Wrong screen. Go to the right screen. We're about coming up on 2200 on Twitch. Great numbers. I'm very, very happy with the growth of the channel. I really have done very little in the way of self-promotion. I'm bad at it. I'm uncomfortable doing it, as I've mentioned. But I have to start doing it more. So you guys are going to hear me self-promote. I'm going to promote. Got to do it a little bit. I'm going to try to restrict myself to doing it certain times, like these update videos, so I don't cram it into every single video and have flashing little neon indicators or scrolling messages on my videos or any of that kind of obnoxious stuff. But yeah, so we're doing well. Let's see, we hit 1.2 million views of my videos on the channel. 20 million minutes you guys have totally wasted that you're never getting back in your lives watching my channel videos. Let's see, likes to dislikes. Who wants to make some guesses? Let me see some guesses. How many likes versus dislikes over the course of the channel's history? How many you think we got? Let me bring up the that other screen again. Man, there must be a pretty big delay. Yeah, there's a fairly sizable delay, huh? I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure how many questions I'm going to be able to field without having a lot of delay, so we'll see. I don't know the percent. Somebody will have to do the math. Somebody will have to do the math for me. Whoa, hey there. Herbe got almost right on the nose for the dislikes. So the number is... where'd it go again? 41,000 likes to 300 dislikes, roughly. Very, very close to that. So 41,000 to 300. I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty satisfied with that kind of a ratio. No idea what the standard ratio is for most YouTube channels, but 41,000 likes to 300 dislikes seems to me like a pretty good ratio. So apparently you guys mostly like me. And episode 1, the very first episode I uploaded to YouTube back on that October 3rd, is just getting real close, about to hit 30,000 views. So that's by far the most viewed video that I've put up. And we'll talk about that a little bit further into the information here. Yeah, you hit it just right, Furby. you hit exactly the number for the dislikes. So I got a few folks that just pretty much dislike every one of my videos. that's apparently I've offended somebody at some point, and they just dislike everything I put up at this point. That's fine. I expected that kind of thing. Nobody's to everybody's taste, so. Let's see, the next thing to talk about. So, a couple weeks ago, I put up a kind of the first, hey, I need your help type of message on my YouTube channel. That was the Twitch partnership message that I put up, asking mostly my YouTube subscribers, the folks that hadn't been over to Twitch, to come visit me on Twitch and hang out for a bit, kind of help us push the channel over towards the partnership side. So we had a goal. The goal was to meet 75 average viewers over the previous 30 days of streaming. And it's a running average that they keep, and we were starting to inch towards that number anyway. But so I put the video out. Got a lot of really good feedback, a lot of good support. People showed up. People sent lots of well-wishing messages. Thanks for showing them how to play the game, all that kind of stuff. So it was really good to see that kind of a response, and really helped bolster my energy and my enthusiasm for creating the content. So I do appreciate everybody that showed up. And as of Friday's Twitch stream, we did make the goal. So we passed the 75 average viewer threshold on at the end of Friday's stream. On Saturday morning, I submitted my application. So it is not a guaranteed partner status. You meet that goal, then you get a button that you can press, and that sends in the request for the application. And so I did submit that on Saturday, and it's in their hands now. So it's all up to Twitch. See what they think of the channel and the growth and my plans and all that good stuff. So really do appreciate everybody showing up for that. And hopefully if you had not visited Twitch before and actually participated in a live stream, you found it interesting, entertaining, horrifying, teeth-gnashing, aggravating when you watch me do things you wouldn't do. You know, that kind of stuff. I know there's a lot of you car wreck watchers just waiting for me to die horribly. And we almost do that fairly often. So live stream's pretty fun in that regard. You can yell at me and make fun of me live, so it's always good times. But yeah, so we made the Twitch partnership challenge, and I'm in the waiting queue now. So They say when you meet the challenge and you send in the app, it takes about a week to get a response back. The automated system sent me back a message saying 1 to 2 weeks. So we'll see. I have no idea how long it's going to take. Could be 1 to 2 weeks, whatever. I'm not going to change anything in regards to my Twitch process or scheduling for now. So this is kind of the part where I talk about the plans for the schedule of the channel here in the near future. It's going to stay the same on the Twitch side until the partner status is resolved. Whether it's yay, I'm in, or no, I'm not in. I'm going to keep the Twitch broadcast the same schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4 o'clock to midnight, just like I've been doing. Once we get the final word, either way, then I'm definitely going to be making some changes. But getting the partnership thing is a very big deal, both on my side and on your guys' side, for the folks that are watching me on Twitch and helping support the channel. Benefits both monetarily, there's other income streams I can get a little bit part of from the partnership side, as well as better results for you guys in regards to things like channel rewards and emotes and all that kind of stuff, as well as the Twitch system will prioritize my stream and always have the multiple resolutions available. So if you've got a slower internet connection or you're watching on your phone or whatever, you'll be able to downgrade the connection to a 720p or whatever you're comfortable with for your internet connection. So it's kind of hit or miss right now whether you're able to do that because they portion out their bandwidth. Partners get it first, and then from there it goes to the affiliates, which is what I am currently, and I often don't have that option. So hopefully people that have tried in the past to watch the live streams on Twitch and weren't able to because of the resolution and bandwidth issues will be able to actually join in. But yeah, so there's lots of benefits there. And a lot of my plans for the channel are kind of hinging on whether or not we make the partner status in how I do it, when I do it, things like that. So I'm kind of in a holding action due to that. So, but definitely keep showing up. They haven't reviewed the channel yet, so it would be horrible to meet the goals and then have a big dip in viewership. So don't treat the goal reached as the end point. Keep showing up. Have fun. That would be greatly appreciated. So hopefully you're being entertained. Anyway. All right, so current channel status and what my hopes for growth are. It's a little fuzzy. I've actually got a 3-year plan. You probably didn't know that, but I did a boatload of research before I actually started this whole process. I'm pretty particular. I do a lot of research before I do things, so I know exactly what I'm doing with the YouTube and Twitch stuff, barring technical problems like that snafu right at the beginning of this one. But yeah, so I do a ton of research, ton of modeling off of other channels that I want to emulate, things like that. And I've got kind of an overall broad 3-year plan, and I hope to get to certain benchmarks at certain times. We're ahead on some, behind on others. I'm not going to go into too much specific detail on that, but yeah, so we're actually doing really well in regards to that. I'm, like I said, a pretty patient guy, pretty calm guy, and it's working well. So the thing that I need to do more of is, like I said, I need to promote more. Try to get people to promote the channel. You guys are doing awesome usually at mentioning my channel when you're answering questions or helping people I see on forums and that. I don't too often nowadays need to mention myself over on Reddit and so on. You guys are a lot of times linking helpful videos ahead of me getting there. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. And hopefully it's helpful to the people you're answering questions for. But yeah, we've got a ways to go. My overall plan for the channel is thus. When I did my research originally, I knew after researching that the best way to pursue growing a channel was to focus on one particular game. Get to be an expert at the game as much as you can. Contribute to the community, grow the community, all that kind of stuff. And that would be the best way to actually grow a channel. Trying to do a multi-game, it's called a variety stream or variety channel, is really tough. Really tough from very beginning, from zero. So I definitely focused on one game. We're at the point right now where I need to start considering other games, particularly games with a little more mainstream appeal. I love Cataclysm. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I have no plans on stopping playing Cataclysm. I'm going to be playing it for the foreseeable future, and I may dial back slightly in how much I play Cataclysm, because, yes, even I get tired of playing Cataclysm 30 hours a week for a year and a half. That's about how much I've been playing. So, much as I love it, I do occasionally need to play something else, and I would love to share that other gameplay experience with you guys and bring my particular brand of hopefully entertaining and educational insights into some other games. So that's kind of where I'm heading. The general plan, loosely, is that I want to incorporate slowly 2 other games. 1 game in the near term. If we get the partner status and or support for the channel increases a bit so that I can allocate some more time and energy to it, then I'm going to pick a game, and I will check with you guys, do some straw polls, check with my Discord channel, all that kind of stuff, to get some ideas of what games you would like to see me play and what games I'm actually interested enough to focus time on. Let me interject here real quick. No RimWorld. I already did RimWorld. I got tired of RimWorld. Sorry. I've got a bunch of videos of RimWorld already up on the channel, and the basic gameplay loop, I just got tired of it. So, unfortunately, while I enjoy RimWorld, it's an awesome game. I heartily recommend it. I just couldn't play RimWorld that much longer. Every time I played it, I ratcheted up the difficulty factor, and it just really wasn't all that tough. And the difficulty factor just got kind of stupid after a while. And yes, there are lots of mods. I started into the mods, but that's it. I don't want to diverge into the RimWorld chat, but take RimWorld off the radar. Caves of Cud. You guys keep distracting me. Caves of Cud. I keep banging my eyeballs against that Cud interface, and it keeps blinding me and giving me headaches. I know there's a good game in there, but the interface color scheme and just the way the menus work and all that just keeps driving me off every time I try to dive into it. So hold off. We'll talk about game choices later. Don't keep spamming chat with all your guys' recommendations for games right now. That's not the conversation I want to have right now. Now I lost track of what I was talking about. Oh yeah, so my plan is currently I'm doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday Cataclysm. I want to add Tuesdays and Thursdays to my streaming schedule and probably focus 1 game on those days. And then any additional free time I get, pending on various factors and support for the channel, I'll mix in smaller doses of other games beyond that as possible. But like I did with Cataclysm, I really want to try to find a game that I can dig into in depth, provide my kind of commentary, play style, educational stuff, and all that, and we'll see. So I'll have a few recommendations. I'll put up some straw polls and that, so you guys can get some input. But right now is not the time for that conversation. I just wanted you guys to know my overall plan is to add 1 more game that I'll cover pretty heavily. Then at a later date, I'll probably drop 1 day of Cataclysm and then add a 3rd game. I'll do 6 days a week, most likely. Might peel back the hours a bit, but if I do turn this into a completely, totally, this is what I do all the time, yeah, we're going to need partner status, we're going to need donations, we're going to need support. So I'll talk about ad revenue in just a moment, because, yeah, that needs a talk. But for now, yeah, that's kind of the plan. So 1 game coming up real soon that I'll add in, pretty heavy rotation, and then eventually a 3rd game. And I think what I'll do is I'll stick with 3 games. When 1 game starts to get a little stale, I'll drop it out, and I'll take suggestions for a new game to add into heavy rotation. And I'll try to keep 3 games total. I don't want to do more than that. 3 games total in fairly heavy rotation at any particular time, and we'll kind of roll 1 in and then roll 1 out and get a new one in, that kind of thing. So that's kind of my mid to long-term goal for how I want to kind of expand the channel. I'm not just going to jump into being a variety streamer and every week I play a new game or a new demo or so on. I may do very, very short dabbles with new stuff that I find interesting, but for the deep stuff, I need games with some meat on them. I'm a meat kind of guy, so I like meaty games. Lots of complex systems and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how we do and what kind of options we've got. Okay, so that's that thing. What next? Let's go ahead and talk about that support ad revenue stuff. Uh-oh. What's that big blue box? Big blue box occurred. Let's see here. I think chat on screen is lagging behind chat. Oh, there it is. Hey there, Jonathan Menzinger. So, just so you know, you are my very, very first super chatter. You're my very first super chatter. It's greatly appreciated. And I'm glad the button worked. Oh, I know what it was. I was just waiting for it to show up. No, that's my very first YouTube super chat. So I was about to start mentioning that kind of thing. So for the channel to grow and for me to continue to put more time, money, and effort into the channel, there definitely needs to be an increase in direct viewer participation, assistance, and there's lots of ways to assist, not just sending money directly. There are a number of different ways to help the channel out. But I'm going to need your guys' help. And I've mentioned it briefly before, and you may have heard it from other channels, but small channels on YouTube make no money. There's just no way to make money as a small channel on YouTube. If you're not a big channel on YouTube, you're not making much in the way of money. So I have to start making some decisions pretty soon regarding where I'm going to be spending my time, my effort, and such. I'm currently split between two main audiences, my Twitch and the YouTube. And I'm happy to be on both. I see value in being on both. But the problem is the amount of time and effort I put in. I get a lot of good, perfectly valid advice on how to make my YouTube videos better, quote unquote. But the thing you got to realize is any time I put into heavily editing videos on YouTube, which takes a lot of time, and so on, there's no return on it. When you're a small channel covering niche products and games and so on, you get no return on that time investment, really. So I have to make value judgments on where I spend the time and the effort. And I've been valuing just bulk uploading of videos to YouTube. And that has positives and negatives. And I want to get advice or get suggestions from you folks. And I'm not going to be able to follow all the chat while I'm making these big, long speeches. But in regards to how I handle my content on YouTube, because the return, the actual dollar return, which unfortunately is a real world necessity. I mean, I can't put in 30, 40, 50 hours a week and not get something back to be able to feed myself and to be able to upgrade the channel hardware and games and all that kind of stuff. So it's a necessary evil. We're going to have to start talking about it. I've put it off, and I've ignored it for a long time. Viewing is great, but the thing to realize about YouTube is, A, their metrics are stupid weird. Their algorithms are stupid weird. Their ad rates are stupid weird. I can have the exact same number of views one day to the next day, and I'll have 200% different values from one day to the next on the ad revenue. Now, when I say ad revenue, don't get all misty-eyed and excited. We're talking pennies or dollars. So we're not talking real money here. So here's the example I wanted to give. This will give you an idea of scale. So I mentioned my very first video, tutorial episode number 1. That was 30,000 views over the course of the video. Here's the last time I'm going to ask you guys to guess. How much money do you think that video has generated in ad revenue? It's been up for over a year and a half. Now, granted, the early months of that, I didn't even have... I wasn't qualified to even put advertising on the video, but the bulk of the views are there. So I'm curious what you think, money-wise, that one video has brought in, because it's a hilarious number. I'm gonna check on something while chat catches up here. Well, you're kind of in the right grouping. It is. Yeah, there's some differences. 1 penny. Nah, it's a little more than that, but that gives you some idea. It's not quite $25. So $25 over a year and a half, 30,000 views. That's what we're talking about. And that's by far the biggest, most views any video of mine has had. So that's kind of the range that you're looking at. So it's just really, really hard to make any money on YouTube. I mean, as you grow the channel and you get bigger, things develop, and I mean, it's not a bad place to be. I mean, there's a lot of intangibles that are hard to quantify. So I don't know, for example, how many people found me on YouTube and then are supporting me directly through Patreon, through Twitch subs, through direct donations to my PayPal, things like that. Really hard for me to quantify that kind of thing. So I mean, it has an advertising of my content benefit, but you're not gonna pay your internet bill with what you're making off of YouTube as a small channel. So take any dollar amounts you've heard pretty loosely from online. But yeah, that's kind of the situation. So the whole thing I'm just trying to make a point about is that for small channels, not just me, any small channel, if you have any particular channel that's a small channel or a niche channel and you enjoy their content regularly, please, please, please consider some kind of direct support for the channel. It's the only way they're going to survive, the only way they're going to grow. They have to, it's kind of like a snowball effect. You have to be big, you have to get big to get any kind of money. It's a really, really tough thing to do. So if you got somebody that is consistently providing you with good content, is consistently providing you with things that you're entertained by, you're devouring their content regularly, please, please consider supporting them in some way. Anything you can do would be greatly appreciated. So, hey, thank you very much for the super chat, Virtue. I do appreciate that. Super chat, by the way, for anybody that isn't aware, at the bottom of the chat box, when you're about to type in something in chat, there's a little icon that's a dollar symbol. That is a way that you can directly donate through the super chat system. So that's just a way you can do it on YouTube. It's just like the bit system on Twitch, but it's available for YouTube viewers. So I've never focused on it. I've never mentioned it because I don't do that many live streams on YouTube in the past. I do plan on changing that, so I am going to be doing some YouTube-specific stuff. And these monthly updates, which will not in the future be this long. There won't be as much of me just rambling in the future ones. It'll be more on point. But this one I need to get through a lot of stuff for the very first one I've done. But if you just want to donate once a month via the super chat system, perfectly great. Awesome. Thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. Other alternatives for direct donations, if we're talking pure efficiency of tip or donation, that's going to be basically just sending money directly to the PayPal account for the channel. You can do that either anonymously, directly, or you can do it through the Streamlabs links that's on all my videos. The Streamlabs links basically let your name appear on the screen just like the Super Chat did just now. If you want to stay anonymous and help out, then just go to PayPal and send money to vormithrax@gmail.com. That's completely anonymous to anybody else and helps the channel directly. So those are two options. Next up in percentage or efficiency would be Patreon. Patreon's awesome because it's like a monthly subscription, and the most of that money goes to the creator. So, for an example, PayPal is the best. Direct PayPal submissions are about 95%, between 90 and 95, depending on if currency conversions are necessary. So, if you send $10, I get $9 to $9.50 of that directly for the channel. Patreon is just a little bit below that. There's a little bit more fees there, but it's consistent. So if you just participate for $1 or $5 a month, it's a huge thing because it lets me know ahead of time what kind of money is available for the channel so I can plan channel expenses and such. Whereas the straight donations, I don't know when those are going to come in or what the amount of money is going to be or anything like that. So Patreon, that is a little more plannable for me. And if you do find yourself consuming the channel content regularly, if you find it has value and you want it to continue, please make sure, or please, if you can, nobody stop paying their rent to donate to any channel. But if you can set aside the cost of a Happy Meal at McDonald's or a latte at Starbucks once a month and Patreon that would be awesome. So any channel is going to find that just hugely beneficial. So Patreon would be the next best way. After that, it gets a little murky. Subscriptions, whether through Twitch or through YouTube, a lot of that money gets split off to the platform. So for Twitch, for example, when you do a $5 monthly sub, half of that goes to the Twitch and half of that goes to the creator. YouTube's a little different, but it's still the same scale. So The subs are awesome. They're a very easy, convenient way for you to help channels and to gift anonymously when you gift subs and all that. Not telling anybody not to do that. It's a wonderful choice. That's another way to do it regularly. But from an efficiency standpoint, that's kind of down on the list. So the long and short of it, that's the direct money ways to help out. But there are other ways to help. One of the big ones would be to not ad block the channel. I mean, if you can't donate direct money to a channel to support it, then consider whitelisting the channel so that you do look at a few advertisements here and there. The vast majority of things on YouTube, people are ad blocking. 99% of it or so. Hey, PC Dragon, thanks very much for the demonstration of how to tip. That was the direct to PayPal tip, right? I think. I'm losing track. There's so many things going on. Yeah, that was the direct PayPal donation. So, yeah, almost all of that money actually goes directly in. So, thank you very much again. But yeah, there are other ways to help a channel. Whitelisting the channel through your ad blocker. I mean, just put up with an ad or two here or there. Skip through them as you need to. But that's a way to help. Letting other people know about the channel helps, of course. Lots of ways to do it. Yeah, alright, that's enough of that. So, anything you can do to support the channel would be great. I'm going to restrict myself from this kind of mention, like I said on my videos, to just these monthly updates. So, I'll remind people every once in a while that the support is greatly appreciated and needed to continue the channel and all that, and expand its breadth and the coverage and all that. But I'm not going to be putting up anything on my videos. You're not going to see little flashy signs or anything about Patreon or any of that kind of stuff. So I won't be doing any of that stuff. So there's one other thing I was going to mention. Trying to read chat, keep track of technical stuff, and talk at the same time. It's hard. Damn it, something slipped my mind. What was it? It'll come to me. I'll mention it later. Things that the money goes to, by the way, are just obvious things like upgrades for the channel. I mean, the microphone, this thing here is the last thing that I asked for help with directly, and it was a huge improvement to the audio quality after I fiddled with it for quite a bit. So that's the kind of thing that I put the channel money towards. It always goes into the channel associated stuff. We're getting to the point now where it's going to have to start actually accommodating like cookies and tea and food, stuff like that. I can't keep doing 40, 50-hour weeks without that kind of thing, but that's part of the growth of the channel. So, but yeah, so that's the kind of thing that's going on. So anything you can do to help the channel out will be greatly appreciated. So that's enough of that for the moment. Oh yeah, other ways to help out are liking videos, hitting the little like buttons, the thumbs up, all that kind of stuff is very, very helpful. Chatting on videos, even if it's just, hey, good video, bad video, hey, you did a really stupid thing. Chat activity raises metrics, all of that kind of stuff. It's amazingly weird in how they metric these things and actually promote. So that's pretty much all that I'm going to say about that. All right, let's move to frequently asked questions. Oh yeah, frequently asked questions. Let's do that. So frequently asked questions. Number 1, what the hell's with all the private videos on your channel, Vorm? Well, the thing is, I stream a hell of a lot more video footage of Cataclysm than I'm comfortable putting on my YouTube channel. So what I mean by that is, here's an example. I used to upload 3 hours a day of Cataclysm. I do a 6 a.m., a noon, and a 6 p.m. I did that for quite a while. Then as an experiment, I dropped the noon one. So I only did 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Then I waited a couple of months. I took a look at the numbers. Nothing changed. I got the same number of views. I got the same number of everything. No changes. 1/3 less stuff uploaded. And there were no metrics that changed whatsoever other than how many videos I uploaded. So that's called flooding. I stream more Cataclysm than the average human can actually pull time in their day together to actually go watch. So I have to make decisions on how I'm going to get content over to YouTube. I stream on Twitch. That's its own thing, how much I stream and all that. But if I'm going to move it to YouTube, I've got to make some decisions. If I upload the entire challenges, which is what I've been doing, what I run into a problem is that at 2 hours a day, I end up with extra hours at the end of the week. And so I've been uploading those and scheduling them into the future. My future log, after a year of doing this, or however long, of continuously having this problem, quote unquote, is that we're now almost 4 months of stuff uploaded that you guys haven't seen on YouTube yet. So 3.5 months is about where the future log is currently sitting. It just kept growing and growing and growing. So anything you're watching released on YouTube now was recorded 3 to 3.5 months ago. So I gotta make it, I can't let that continue growing. I gotta make some decisions. I either need to not upload certain challenges, change how I upload in that I don't upload the entire challenge, every single minute of it, that I go through and do some quick chopping and editing and just pick out the quote unquote fun sections, string them together, put that on YouTube. Or just do the tiny highlight videos, like the Cataclysm quick slips and highlight videos. Those are kind of the choices. What I cannot do is spend 3 to 4 times more time editing and putting together flashy YouTube-ready videos. I can't do that. It just won't work. I don't have enough time. So one of these things is going to have to change, or I upload more videos every day for a while. I'm open to suggestions. I'm not sure what you guys as a group, I mean, we've only got a very small number of the total YouTube viewership here currently, but I don't know what you guys as a group would actually consider the optimal solution there. I hesitate. I mean, it bothers me to not upload stuff that I've recorded. I have it. I want to upload it, but I don't want to flood the channel. If I put 6 hours a day of Cataclysm up, you guys aren't going to watch 6 hours a day of Cataclysm. So I've got a bit of a problem there, and I'm not real sure. Everybody seems to have a different opinion about what kind of things I should put on YouTube and how polished and edited they should be, and so on. So I'm having to think through that. If you have opinions, I'll try to remember from the chat here, but it would be helpful if you would post them on my Discord channel, because then I can review them anytime I need to, if you have suggestions on how to handle that kind of thing. But that's an ongoing problem. So I've got a series right now I'm hesitating to upload and add to that 3.5 month backlog. So yeah, it'll be less of a problem when I don't do quite as much Cataclysm live streaming. But for now, yeah. Here's another interesting metric, by the way. So I am doing things wrong on YouTube. I am a terrible YouTuber. So what I mean by that is I should not be uploading hour-long episodes. I should be uploading 20 to 22-minute episodes. That's it. Every episode should be 20 to 22 minutes. That maximizes the viewer retention metric versus advertising opportunities versus all sorts of things. If you look at a lot of gaming videos on various bigger YouTube sites, they're mostly 20 to 25 minutes. So I'm doing it totally wrong. I'm uploading hour-long episodes in bulk, and it's just the wrong way to do it. So I made conscious choices to do it that way for the type of content and such, but I need to make some decisions, like I said, on just how I'm going to handle the YouTube content. So if you have any ideas in that regard, let me know, but that's kind of the issues that are involved. Oh, the metric I wanted to mention, though, is with the types of videos I upload, the bulk of them are these hour-long, chopped-up live streams. The average view length is 16.5 minutes. So basically, most of you folks are fast-forwarding through the videos. You're clicking on a 10-minute point, a 15-minute point, a 30-minute point, and you're finding the fun parts or whatever. But you're only actually watching, on average, now this is on average. Some of you may be watching the whole things, and you go. But on average, the viewership for all my videos is 16.5 minutes. So when I see that number and I think, well, why am I uploading hour-long videos all the time if they're only watching 16 minutes? I don't know. I'm not sure. I really don't want to make 4 times as many videos and chop them into 15 minutes each. That'd be a nightmare on my side. So it's already taken a lot of time to chop, edit, and upload the number of videos I'm currently doing. If I had to multiply that by 3 or 4, holy moly, no way. Not going to happen. Too many videos. So, yeah, that's another issue that's going on. Just realize why I do certain things certain ways. All right. Let's move off of that topic. We're getting close to the end of my boilerplate things I wanted to talk about. We'll get into the question and answer parts here real quick. Oh yeah, so that was the we were talking about frequently asked questions. That was the future log and my request on opinions on how to deal with it. So next up, what's the deal with the hat? I get asked about the hat a lot. So here's the deal with the hat. The hat is for your protection. It's for you. I wear it for you. Now, why I wear this hat, that's just me. Here, I'll show you the hat, and I'll take the hat off. So I've done it twice before. So here you go. Here's Vorm Sans hat. This is what you're being protected from. And the light and the glare. There you go. That is Vorm hatless. We'll go hatless for a little bit. So here's the hat. If anybody asks, I get asked a lot, what hat is that? There you go. That is the hat. And if you're not from the United States or you don't care about college football, that is a college football team. All right, we'll leave the hat off for a bit. I can... It has a few purposes. One purpose is to protect you from the glare of my forehead. One purpose is to protect my eyes from the lights. I got a big light above me, and the hat helps protect me from the glare. Because when you're not running studio-type lights that have good output but low luminosity, it's a little rough on the eyeballs. And that's one of the things the donations are going to, is some more professional lighting that doesn't cause me to feel like I have a dagger stuck through my eyes after 8 hours of staring into them. Alright, we're back with the hat. Okay, so that is the deal with the hat. It's for... it's dual purpose. It's to protect you from the glare off my dome, and to protect my eyeballs from that light. I may change the hat at some point. I'm not wedded to the hat or anything, but yeah, we'll see. Once I get the P.O. box set up, you guys can send me hats to wear. As long as they're not costume hats. No costume hats. Those things are stupid. Okay. Boo, boo, boo. No, it is not a tip to my location. I lived there for very many years, but I do not live there currently, as my streaming time would denote. I am Central U.S. Those are the two main frequently asked questions, so let's go ahead and open it up. You guys got questions, I got answers, or I have avoidances, or I have no comments. So, go ahead and start hitting me. What do you want to know about the man behind the myth and the legend that is Vormithrax? I will wait for comments to roll in while I scroll up and see what I missed. I'm still having a problem keeping track of things. Sorry if I missed any previous comments, by the way. I know some things have scrolled by that I've missed, but now we are into the question and answer. I will try to satisfy your curiosity as much as possible. All right, question number 1. What kind of dog is Zombie Dog? Zombie Dog is a zombie dog. Now, Zombie Dog is a Labradoodle, technically, but I call him a Labradortle, because he's about 90% Labrador and only about 10% Doodle by sight. So he is a big, fat, happy Labradortle. Do I play Dungeons & Dragons? I do not actively play Dungeons & Dragons currently. I started playing Dungeons & Dragons in the way, way early days. How early days? So I've made a lot of very casual references to TV shows, movies, and such from the 1970s and 1980s. And I'll leave it to your imagination whether I lived through those or if I like to watch a lot of old TVs. But yeah, I am a big Dungeons & Dragons player. I played through the very, very early games, all the way back to Chainmail. Anybody recognize Chainmail? Gary Gygax's precursor to Dungeons & Dragons? Dungeons & Dragons was a mod for Chainmail. And then it grew and grew and expanded and grew. But yeah, most of my time in the early days were spent with the basic set, the red and blue boxes, and then advanced up through there. I think I bailed out of Dungeons & Dragons late 80s, early 90s. And started playing a lot of other games, MERP and Shadowrun and Gamma World and all sorts of other stuff. But yeah, so big fan of Dungeons and Dragons, though. I still follow it loosely and know of it and keep track of it and played all the electronic versions and all that. How often do you shave the head to make it so squeaky clean? That is daily. That's some daily action there. I don't grow facial hair all that fast, but I can get away with an every other day without you guys really noticing in the face cam. So occasionally it's a 2-day growth, but for the most part, it's a daily thing. It's only a little tiny bit of stubble, though, just to make it easier. What games do you play in your spare time? Why do you think I have spare time? Anytime I'm not live streaming, I am on Reddit, I'm on my YouTube comments, I'm in Discord, I'm all over the damn place, answering the same stupid questions over and over and over again. Not really. They're not stupid. They're just new players coming in or old players passing on bad information that I have to explain that they really should stop trying to give answers when they haven't actually verified their information anytime recently. Do you have a preferred tea brand? Earl Grey. Earl Grey is my preferred tea brand. Like to hear what kind of work you did before you started on YouTube and Twitch. I've mentioned it a couple of times. 1 second. A lot of non-stop chatting there. Oh, and no, not vodka, just water. Much as I may tease. Alright. What work did I do previously? So, I have a long professional history in the customer service and technical support industry, mostly doing phone support. Therefore, I trained my voice long time ago. I mean, I have my voice. I can't take credit for the voice I've got, but I trained my speaking skills and my ability to speak while performing complicated computer-related interactions quite a bit back. So it's been a long time. I was doing that industry for quite a while. I've got restaurant work in my industry or my past as well, but pertinent to this particular endeavor, it's pretty much attributed to a whole lot of providing telephone support, both for customer service in general and particularly for technical support, both on the phone side, the headset wearer, as well as management and training and so on. I did a whole lot of training, whole lot of mentoring, all that kind of stuff. Hey, Bill Tipton, thank you very much. Appreciate that. So yeah, so that's kind of it. Back up a second here. Hey, thanks for the super chat tip, Bill. How did you get a carrier in customer support? I'm not sure what that means. What does that mean? Get a carrier in customer support. Oh, career in customer support is probably what you meant. Job. Got it. I applied. This was, I don't know what the environment looks like nowadays, but this was a little while back. So the US had really just started heavily outsourcing all of their customer service about the time I got out. So have you played the harebrained Shadowrun RPGs? Shadowrun. Just very, very lightly. I didn't play them too much. Have you considered making a new tutorial series with the updated game? My plan is to make a new tutorial series, just like a 4-episode tutorial, as soon as 0.E drops. So when 0.E drops, I will produce and put out an updated tutorial for that specific build. So I'm going to wait for that. Shouldn't be too long, another month or two, I believe. They're aiming for October, I think, for the 0.E. So I'm going to wait until then. So it'll go into feature freeze of the month or so beforehand and get a little bit more stabilized. And then I will do a new tutorial series. It won't be 174 episodes like that mammoth slog that became the first tutorial series. Congrats, bonus cookie points to everybody that actually watched that whole thing through. You, my folks, are champions of YouTube tutorial watching. But yeah, I'll do a new one, but it'll be short. It'll just be an introduction to the game and the interface and things very new players just need to know just to survive the first couple of days. So Pizza with or without pineapple? Pizza with pineapple, but without jalapenos. I can't stand the jalapeno pineapple combo, so I'm okay with pineapple pizza. I like the pineapple pizzas. Pineapple and Canadian bacon, ham, whatever your meat of choice is. It's good stuff. I did a lot of pizza work in my distant past too. I was a restaurant manager for a pizza chain, so. Det Sparrow, thank you, very, very generous. Appreciate that. Love your content. I don't have anybody reading the stuff. I figured that was going to be a little too dangerous for my first time when I don't know where all the buttons are. I can't get that back up. Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate the donation. Scroll. What are your favorite stupid questions? I don't want to call anybody out. They'll feel bad when I say. Earl Grey is the best. I am in agreement. When is the next drunk stream? Well, I don't drink. I am a non-alcoholic. So there you go. I just never picked up the habit. I don't have any particular desire to drink or need drink, and I don't know. I just never have. Give me some soda, give me some water, and I'm a happy guy. Or some tea, of course. Where are we at? You're getting ahead of me. Did you ever lose your temper in tech support? I never did. Honestly, I never did. I am so super smooth and mellow. I got put on, every time I would change jobs, very quickly I got put on the hatred line for whatever company I was working for. The line where people call in just to scream and yell at people. That's where I usually ended up. So that's because I can usually take that kind of stuff without too much of a problem and turn it around. So quite often they would scream at the beginning and they would say thank you at the end. And that was always the hallmark of what I considered a job well done. If I could get that person who was so angry to thank me at the end of the phone call, that was victory. And I did it quite often. But I'm very good at explaining things and calming people down and so on. Mostly due to my very even temperament. I don't take things personally. That's why I don't get riled up when I get weird comments on the YouTube videos or anything like that. So, would you ever need or consider moderators in any capacity? Very much yes. We are getting to the point. I've tried really hard to do it all myself, try to respond to all my YouTube comments, answer all the questions, but it is getting a little harder as the channel grows to adequately keep track of chat and the other things that's going on. I'm always torn between how much time I spend moderating my chat, responding to comments, trying to promote people. That's where I have the biggest problem. I'd love to promote people to VIP status in Twitch, for example, but it takes time. I got to click on a bunch of buttons, go to certain screens, type in their names, and sometimes you guys have stupid hard names to type in. And it's hard to copy and paste some of them. So, yeah, I am very much going to be on the lookout for moderators. So, that will be happening. Did customer support for a few years, and I wanted to claw my eyes out every day. No clue how people manage that. Yeah. I knew my niche. I always made sure that I was in a customer service, technical support capacity. No sales, no upselling, no cross-selling, no cold calls, none of that. It was people needing help, calling me, and I knew my stuff really well. Like I told you early in the stream, I researched the holy hell out of stuff. So I'm usually really well prepared and really knowledgeable about whatever thing I'm going to support. And I would bring that to the support and didn't have a problem. So as long as they were calling me, I can't sell stuff. I'm not good at that. I just can't do it. I'm not good at it. Customer service, technical support, I'm awesome. But I'm not a cold call, boiler room seller type of guy. So Felicity watched the whole thing. All right, you are one of the champions. We need to get t-shirts. I need to get some t-shirts. One of the first things of merch I'll make is a t-shirt that says I watched Vorm's entire tutorial series and I survived. That we'll have to make that a t-shirt. Yeah, no super long tutorial. I don't have another one of those in me. At one point, I was trying to maintain the tutorial series, which were canned episodes, meaning I would record them off camera and then upload them individually. And I was doing the Prison Escape series the same way. And I was live streaming. And I was doing all these other things for Cataclysm with the universities and so on. And it was just driving me whole. I was just going nuts. every time I would log into a game, I would have to sit there and go, what map am I on? Where's all my stuff? What did I do last time? It was just a nightmare. I had to stop doing that. So you get live stream challenge runs, be happy with them. I'm not going to do canned stuff. Too hard. What makes you love this game so much and sticking it to your main game? Mostly the depth and the complexity and the world's... Let's see how to explain this. Unlike games like Dwarf Fortress or more fantasy-oriented games, those are a little harder to get into because of the fantasy or otherworldly nature. This one uses close to modern times. You can recognize most of the stuff in it. You just have to learn the systems and the mechanics. But the stuff is things we encounter every day, mostly. Not zombies and all that, of course, but we're all familiar with zombie movies and all that. So the barrier to entry for the content is fairly light, but the depth of the gameplay systems and the pace of the development allow for so much variety that I find I don't easily bore or get tired of it. There's so many ways I can modify my game settings, my gameplay, my characters, and so on, that it retains my interest over a period of time, and the pace of development helps out tremendously. I mean, it's not a static game. It's got large-scale changes that occur over a fairly short amount of time that keep things fresh and interesting. Hello from AZ. Howdy, AZ. I assume that's Arizona. Yeah. I spent 2 years in Phoenix. Yeah, I melted a couple of tape recorders on the dashboard of my car in Phoenix, Arizona. That place is stupid. It rains like 1/8 of an inch, and the entire downtown floods. It's just a big old bowl. The water for like 18 miles around all flows into the downtown, and they got no sewers or anything. So they close the city down when it rains, or at least they did when I was there. It was crazy. Unless we're talking AZ, the other one. Then I don't have any experience. Did you travel outside the U.S.? If so, where and did you like it? Well, the answer is yes and no. I did, but I don't remember it. So I'm an Air Force brat. I was born to a military family. We traveled all over the damn United States, and I was actually born in Japan. So I was born on an Air Force base in Japan. Yeah, so I was over there for the first couple of years of my life, and I've been everywhere in the United States at one point or another while I was traveling around with my military family. So I didn't stay in the same place for more than a year until I was 13 or 14 years old. Different state every single year, sometimes twice in a year, until I was 13. So I've been everywhere in the United States. Most of it's kind of fuzzy. It was pretty early in my life, but I remember a number of the places pretty well. But yeah, I haven't traveled much outside or any outside the U.S. Since those days. Never really felt a need for travel. I got enough of it moving around when I was a kid, and I've just never really desired to do any traveling. What would your go-to game before Cataclysm? That's a little harder. I don't know if I'll name a particular game, but categories of games. I dabble in the first-person shooters and stuff. I got a lot of that action early on in their life, and most of the modern stuff is just variations on a theme. Prettier lights and graphics, but the basic gameplay hasn't changed all that much. I think the last one I enjoyed a lot was Borderlands 2, so I'm looking forward to Borderlands 3. I dabble in a few others, but mostly I go for the survival, strategy, management, that kind of stuff. And it's a pretty big medley, so I can't name one that I spent just huge amounts of time in prior to Cataclysm. I'm kind of all over the map. I don't remember how many hundreds of games in my Steam library, so... Dwarf Fortress, yes, I have played. I last played it 4 or 5 years ago. I don't plan on playing it on the channel, so that won't be happening. I don't have enough room in my brain to hold Cataclysm and the awesomeness that is Dwarf Fortress simultaneously. I'll explode, so... 110 in Phoenix today, yeah. Not that hot where I'm at, but we're not too far behind you. You live in a place you were living as a kid now. No, I'm not living now or in a place where I was living as a kid. I do, they don't. One interesting fact. Okay, here's a really bizarre factoid about the life of Vormithrax. I have personally experienced every major natural disaster known to man, with the exception of the typhoon or tidal wave. Every other one I've actually witnessed or been involved in. So, yeah. And yes, I am including volcanoes in that indication. So, I've done floods, I've done blizzards, I've done hurricanes, I've done forest fires, I've done wildfires where I stood on a roof of a house and hosed it off to keep the embers from burning the house down. I've done earthquakes. I've done volcano. So many. Do you play any of the Binding of Isaac games? I don't. I've never played any of the Binding of Isaac games. I don't get into those much. Especially as I've gotten older. I don't go for the Twitch-based stuff as much. So, I haven't tried too many of those types. Ever played Paradox games? Lots and lots and lots of Paradox games. So, EU4 the most, but not recently. It's been a year or two since I delved into EU4. CK2, I did a little bit on the channel. I did CK2 with the Warhammer Fantasy mod. And I've got a series. Did a couple of runs in that. I don't know why CK2 couldn't click with me with its default world setting. I really enjoyed the Warhammer Fantasy stuff, but there were a few issues with the mod eventually that kind of drove me away from it. I've played Hoi 4, and they've been playing any of the earlier ones, but I played a little bit of Hoi 4 before I got distracted by other things. But yeah, I love the Paradox stuff, and I've got Rome Imperator, but I've been holding off doing anything with it pending the 1.2 update, which I have the beta copy, or the beta patch for, but I haven't yet been able to put a bunch of time into it. Star Sector, I have Star Sector. I've bounced off of it a couple of times. It's an awesome looking game. I've done a lot of research and watching of it, but I haven't actually delved deep into it. Every time I started to, I saw the changelog notes and the plans for the future he had for it, and I would start to learn it, and then I would say, nah, I'll wait until he gets this implemented or that implemented, and we're still kind of in that loop. I think it's pretty far along now, but I haven't actually tried it here recently. How many times do you see Shotgun Suppressor? I don't know. I can't think of any times because I generally care less about mods for weapons in Cataclysm. Did you ever get recognized in real life by someone who learned about CDDA thanks to you? No, not so far. I am not yet world famous. I am barely tiny bit YouTube. Sorta. Not even famous, just above not noticed. Will mixing marijuana and crack kill you in CDDA? Well, it depends on what build you're on. No, I don't believe it will. You'll have some interesting times for a short bit, but won't be too bad. XCOM series of games, something you enjoy. Love it. Love XCOM. Although I haven't played the recent one. There's been a ton of games that have come out in the last couple of years that I don't know why. I just haven't been able to focus on them. But I love the original XCOMs, have fond memories and played them to death. What was the other one? XCOM and... God, I can't remember the name of the other one that I played a lot around that same time. I forget. Victoria 2, I've only played a tiny bit of. I love it. I love the looks of it. I've played a few hours here and there of it, but I just have never been able to jump into that one deeply. Playing old school pen and paper RPGs like Twilight 2000. Oh yeah. I did Twilight 2000. I think Twilight 2000 came after my Gamma World days and a bunch of other ones. But yeah, from 1988 to mid 90s, I played about every RPG. All the paper stuff. We did. I had regular. I would game master. My buddy would game master. We did all that kind of stuff quite a bit. Any interest in playing Mountain Blade, Warband, or its sequel? I played a little bit of one of the earlier versions of Mountain Blade before it really got good, and it kind of ruined me on it. So I know of it, but I have not played it here recently. How old are you, and are you single? I've never flat out said how old I am, and I don't think I'm going to mention my status. We'll leave that to the mystery. Don't want to dash anybody's hopes. I'm always entertained by how old people think I am. That always amuses me. I've gotten some pretty interesting answers to that question. If the Cataclysm were to happen in real life, what would be the most fitting scenario would you be in? Oh, what would I be in? I'd be in a city start, so I could run house to house and steal everybody's crap. I don't know. That's a little tougher one to ad-lib an answer to. Any interest in Caves of Cud? Interest, yes. Enthusiasm, no. I keep bouncing off of it. I've tried 3 times now, and the color scheme and the interface just keeps smashing me in the face and my eyeballs, and I just can't seem to dig into it. I think I'm going to have a similar problem with any game too similar in gameplay to Cataclysm at this point. I'm going to have a rough barrier of entry there, just because I've got Cataclysm so massively hardwired into my system right now that it makes it difficult for me to get into those games right now. Do you live... That's an interesting dividing line. Whoops. Back it up here. Do you live above or below Tennessee? Trying to narrow it in, are you there? Yeah, I guess Central Time Zone US does cover a bit of a swath of the United States. Yes, I do live either above or below Tennessee. That's the answer. Fallout 1 and 2. Oh yeah, tons of the early Fallout games. Played them to death. Opinions on Magicalism so far. I like it a lot. It's got some rough edges, like anything of its type that's expanding so quickly. I think it'll be a fun mod to add into the game. It's getting to the point where you got to be a little careful about adding it in, because it's starting to have secondary effects of the gameplay. So you can't just add it in and then decide or not decide whether to pursue the magic, because now you're going to have different magic monsters chasing you down. So you're going to have owlbears and demon spiders and dragons and so on. So those you can't opt out of, unlike the magic books and that you could, in the early part, just either use or ignore however you'd like. So you could load Magicalism up as one of your default mods, and if you didn't feel like doing magic, you just wouldn't pick up the books. But nowadays, yeah, you can't do that with all the new stuff. Herder Derp says 30 and ready to mingle. You are incorrect. You are incorrect, Herder Derp. Are you older than me? My beard's going gray. Well, since I stay cleanly shaven, you're not going to get a beard color indicator out of me on how old I am. One day, can you show noobs like me how to properly do a Dwarf Fortress start? Absolutely not. Nope. Sorry. Dwarf Fortress YouTube is that away. I will not be showing anybody how to do a Dwarf Fortress start. Sorry. I can't fit Dwarf Fortress and Cataclysm into my puny brain simultaneously. Good luck. Will drinking Instagram stars bathwater kill you in CDDA? Well, I don't think we have any Instagram stars actually in the game yet. What's your favorite CBM in Cata? I don't know that I have a favorite. I don't do that many. I gotta say, currently I'm a little soured on the whole CBM thing. So, ever since the my many rants about the reported fail percents on CBMs not being accurate, I've really lost my taste for doing CBMs. So if I had to pick a favorite, I don't know. I'd probably go with metabolic interchange, if anything. Just at least in the past, the way it worked, and the amount of power and the utility of it. But that's largely because food is really irrelevant for me. So it was essentially free power. Um, cool effect wise, integrated tool set is probably a lot of people's favorites. Uh, do, do. Would you rather fight one elephant-sized chihuahua or 100 chihuahua-sized elephants? I'd rather go for the one elephant-sized chihuahua. I think I could beat him in a foot race. I think I could beat him. But the 100 chihuahua-sized elephants, that'd be a bit of a mess. I'd be cleaning that up for a long time. Yeah, I'm actually curious. For U.S. folks, where do you think my accent is from? Do I have an accent? Do you think it's particular to a region? I've always considered myself to not have much of an identifiable accent, I believe due to my constant moving around the United States as I was a wee lad developing my speech. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Favorite mutation tree? The favorite one I remember is Mouse. I had a lot of fun with Mouse, the Mighty Mouse challenge that I did. That was hilarious. I had a lot of fun with that. The bird one was pretty cool too, but you guys all know my preference for speedy maneuverability characters, so the bird's pretty fun in that regard. Yeah, Krug Smash is definitely somebody to point folks to for Fortress stuff. Oops, why is my chat jumping around? Have you tried the Crit Expansion Pack? I have not tried the Crit Expansion Pack. I have also not tried Crazy Cataclysm. I've not tried Cata++. Bright Nights, which I think turned into one of those. Haven't done any of those. Would you rather be cornered by a shock zombie or 8 fat zombies and a blob? 1 shock zombie, please. I'll take my shock and run away. You're a fanatic of Dwarf Fortress. I've been looking at CDDA because of your videos. Thanks for the entertainment. You're very welcome. Glad you found them entertaining. Or horrifying, as the case may be, either due to what happens to me or the stupid things that I do that makes people throw things at their monitor. Midwest is the guess. Yes, you do. I think you're a Michigander. Kansas, Oklahoma accent. All right. Yeah, I wouldn't know what to tell you regarding the accent because I mean, from memory, I assume there's still bases in these places, but from memory, let's see. I had to have lived in like 15 different states directly, and I traveled through all of them at one point or another, with maybe the exception of like Rhode Island in that area. The far northeast U.S. I didn't spend much time in, but non-distinct mash of everything? Yeah, that sounds about right. Probably why I was pretty popular as a customer service technical support person, because I sounded like the people I was talking to mostly, or at least was understandable to. You're Finnish? I have no accent. Yeah, I can believe that. American? American? Yeah, I'm sure I definitely do have the American accent. I'll take, again, the shock zombie. When will I go to EU friendly? What are the plans? It depends first on the Twitch partnership thing. I can't change my Twitch schedule in particular until that partnership thing is settled one way or the other. So as soon as I get either the yay or the nay, that's when I will start considering those kinds of things. It depends a bit. I need to get some idea of just what is considered more friendly time frames, and can I find a happy medium where I can kind of straddle both without losing too many people on either end. I would hate to gain in one place but lose more in another place, for example. So it's going to depend a bit. My initial idea is to do a few longer streams where I try to kind of bridge a little better between the two time zones availability, and then see what the numbers look like from the metrics on where the largest amount of the viewership is during those periods, and then making a decision and kind of shuffling it around a little bit. So that's kind of the plan. I could also possibly do a focused time frame a couple times a month. Depends a little bit on the growth of the channel and what other games and all that kind of stuff. Are you fine with the CDDA community calling you Uncle Vorm? Yeah, it's better than Grandpa Vorm. I'm fine with it. I don't, whatever. I don't care. Nah, that's enough of the would you be corn or would you rathers. No more would you rathers. Alright, I think I'm catching up on chat. Anybody else got some general chat? This has gone way longer than I thought it would. 90 minutes. I think I told the poor new player CDA guys that it was going to be a 30-minute estimation. We're 90 minutes in at this point, so I've already gone way, way beyond what I thought. So, do you have a game or games you want to play for your channel? Yeah, I do. I'll discuss those and put up some straw polls and some lists. Not right now. I'm not going to go into those. Do you watch other CDDA YouTubers? Rycon's about the only one I'm actively kind of watching, keeping an eye on. Rycon and I kind of point people back and forth to each other fairly regularly. Rycon's awesome. Go watch Rycon. So yeah, but beyond that, not too many other ones that I watch actively. I do lurk in Twitch streams for Cataclysm and offer answers and advice to folks. So beyond that, I'm usually doing that while I'm editing my 4 million hours of backlogged videos. But mostly I'm just listening, and if they ask, how does this work, or why isn't this doing this, then I'll switch over to their chat and give them an answer on what's going on or how it works and all that kind of stuff. You think you'll ever get bored of CDA and quit playing? I mean, all things are possible, but I don't see it happening anytime real soon. I'll likely dial back how much I'm live streaming Cataclysm, but it's not going to disappear from the channel anywhere remotely soon. So, would you do a choose your own adventure type series or live stream for viewers? Maybe, possibly. That gets a little tough. There's a lot of hurdles when you actually start. I mean, it sounds great as an idea, but when you start drilling down to the nuts and bolts of how you accomplish it without it being really weird and clunky, and the delay between the action and the chat and making decisions can get kind of rough. I've thought through that kind of stuff, and it seems to be a little bit tough. Yeah, Rycon's one of the folks that I watched originally when I was first trying to learn how to play Cataclysm. I would watch hours and hours and hours of Rycon and one or two others to try to answer a question. And that's really what led me to starting the tutorial series and the university and the quick tips, is the fact that I couldn't get answers to a lot of the questions I had in any kind of reasonable time frame. So I started putting stuff together pretty much for that reason. No, I've already done my Save the President run. It was a nameless fictional future president, so we're done with that until I revisit it with some kind of twist or variation in the future. What will you utilize mods for specifically? I'm not sure I understand that question. Have I ever save scummed? No, nobody's asked that before. So, save scummed. If you watch my live streams, all of them, then you've seen me save scum, I think, 4 times in the last year and a half, 4 or 5 that it's occurred. But it's always occurred. I only save scum the live stream challenges when it's an obvious broken gameplay mechanic that killed me. Not unfair, not unlucky or any of that stuff. Just flat out something's broke. Those are the only circumstances I save scum. So it's one of the fun parts of watching the live streams. Is I play hardcore. If I die, I die. I take it. You probably noticed 99% of the time when I die on my challenges, I'm laughing while it's happening. So it's all good. I don't mind dying. A lot of times I deserve it. I did something stupid and I got what I deserved. Occasionally I get really, really unlucky and it might make me grind my teeth slightly, but I try to be a good sport about it and just keep on moving on. So, but no, I've never save scummed. I can't save scum during live streams really. And then I haven't done any recorded stuff since the tutorial and the prison escape, but those were easy mode world settings for me, so I didn't really have a need to save scum anything in those. But yeah, no, you'll know when I save scum because I announce it. I announce it loudly and proudly when I'm about to do it, and I explain in detail why it's going to happen because it's a really rare event for me to save scum. Next challenge is planned. I've got a loose list of kind of rough ideas. I don't really make a final decision until the day the challenge is probably going to fire off. So I do take suggestions. I review the suggestions made on my Discord channel when I'm about to pick something. I've never used the settlement mechanic. I have never done any of the settlement stuff. I have a long-standing absolute hatred of NPC behavior and interaction in the game. I'm really, really waiting and anticipating a long overdue upgrade to the NPC system, which Kevin and folks have been working on for quite a while. It's not here yet. I've been loosely following progress on it, but I can't answer questions about it beyond real basic stuff I might have caught in various chats. So I have no direct opinions on it one way or the other. But, I mean, it's a good addition to the game. They're making lots of progress for the NPC stuff and the faction camp stuff. So I'm glad it's there, but it's just really not my bag of tea. NPCs just drive a pick through my eye instead of making me deal with the NPCs too much. Did we discuss any updates to Twitch Partner? We did, right at the beginning. So we did succeed in the Twitch Partner application process, so we did achieve the goal of 75 average viewers over the last 30 days. We did that on Friday's stream, so Saturday I submitted my application, and the application is pending review. So 1 to 2 weeks is the estimate that they gave me for the answer, one way or the other. It's not automatic. It's they look at the channel, look at me, look at the metrics, all that kind of stuff, and evaluate to make a decision. So I won't know for sure. So business as usual until I get that answer. I'm not changing anything on my Twitch processes or time frames currently until we know one way or the other. Why so many glasses spawn in churches? I'm not a dev. I don't contribute. I got my niche. I have no idea. Glasses and raincoats, or glasses and umbrellas. That's where you go if you need glasses or umbrellas. What's the pay-to-win donation amount one has to provide to get their challenge suggestion to the #1 spot? Go look at my YouTube or my Patreon page and you'll know the answer. How well I utilize that or when I utilize it is a bit up in the air, and I do have to approve the idea before I do it. So there are some lawyery, squirrely words in there, but that kind of a thing is part of the Patreon reward system. So there you go. What would you utilize moderators for exactly when you get to that part? Mostly it's for monitoring chat, answering common questions, providing links to for people to common resources. I get a lot of questions about where do I get the launcher and how do I do this, and I might have a specific YouTube video on it. Reining in unruly people that I don't have time to rein in that are just being obnoxious or rude. Things like that. That's just normal moderator stuff. Another specific thing, though, is moderators have the ability to either type in or through the graphical information or graphical menu, they can put timestamp markers on episodes. So while I'm live streaming a Cataclysm challenge, something funny, horrible, horrifying, cool, whatever happens, they can just hit a quick key or command, and it'll put a marker on the episode right there. That way, later, when the live stream's over, I can go back and I can review the markers that the moderators created to indicate to me something they think would be fun to put up on a video, like a quick slip or a highlight video or things like that, which is much, much easier than me after 8-10 hour live stream trying to remember when things occurred, or having to go skipping through a 10-hour video trying to find particular moments. So that kind of thing is pretty important, and as time goes by, it gets more and more important. Because I'm trying to train myself, and I'm still very much learning and getting better at it, but I'm trying to get better at audience interaction, engagements, and so on, trying to keep track of the chat, making sure I catch people's questions and respond to them and all that kind of stuff. And trying to do that while playing a complicated game and keeping track of the technical issues of the stream. There's a lot going on. So being able to pass off even things like that to folks is a big improvement. What do you want to improve to the game? Your criticism of the game? Opinion after thousands of hours? That's a bit of a minefield. I'm okay with most of the changes to the game. I understand the reasoning behind a lot of the recent changes, especially, but I'm also a little more dialed in to future plans that are being worked towards, meaning I understand that certain unpopular changes are being made now, or are being half implemented now, to facilitate setting up certain things that are needed as infrastructure or larger scale changes that are coming later. I think that's a lot of the misunderstandings between the player community and the contributors and the devs and the decision makers, is the amount of future serving that is happening with changes being made in the game currently. So if you see something and it looks kind of half-assed implemented, there may be a very specific reason for that. It could be bridging a gap as a band-aid between a particularly obnoxious problem that's occurred, and it has to be able to work two different ways for a while until they make a later actual structural change to the way the game works, and then they can get rid of the band-aid. There's a lot of that kind of stuff that I think happens that people don't really notice or know. So I'm okay. I don't have any real big issues. The main things you hear me gripe about in my streams are, I still don't believe the fail numbers that they show me when I'm doing CBM installs. I don't care how many people tell me about failure bias and math and all that. I've got way too big a pool of evidence to believe it. But they've toned down a whole bunch of the power gaming stuff, so it's moving more towards a realism focus. I'm okay with that, but I've already had my fun with that kind of gameplay. So, I mean, I've already done the 50,000 CBM power available, every CBM in the game installed. I've already done the hyper mutant cyborg hybrid and all that kind of stuff. So I've already done a lot of the power level stuff. And had my fun with it and kind of drifted away from it. I've been for a long time now drifting to lower and lower and lower power characters. And I've been having fun with it. I mean, that's where my fun lies now, is less on the power side. I don't play with the stats through skills, stats through kills, any of that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I'm not really the target audience for that kind of a question. And I don't like to comment on that kind of thing, because I try to keep myself as more of a neutral provider of information regarding the game, less as a direct advocate for the direction I think they should go, because I am very much not the normal audience for the game. I'm way too beyond gameplay-wise and knowledge of the gameplay-wise to consider my opinion to be balanced in a lot of the factors. So, number one tip for the Cataclysm noob. Watch all of my videos. All of them. At 1.x speed. There you go. Other than that, there's so much. There's so much. I think the action menu, Shift 5, the percent key. There you go. The percent key or action menu is probably the other best one for a brand new player, because it shows you what actions you have available to you based on what gear you currently have on you or adjacent to you. And so it'll show you what your choices are. Because new players have no idea what's even possible to do. So that menu helps with that. Rather spawn in a school or a Rat King cave? School! That's an easy one. I could run around schools for days. That's no problem. Rat King cave, First floor where the Rat King's not hanging out, or the actual Rat King cave itself, the second, third floor, however far down it is. Hey there, Solar! You made it after... we've been going for almost 2 hours I've been chatting. Oh, I feel bad for anybody that's waiting for the new player stuff. So, let's do an experiment. In chat, anybody who's hanging around saying, God damn it, Vorm, get to the new player tutorial demonstration stuff. give me an indication in chat if all you're doing is waiting around for that portion. Because if there's none, I'll keep chatting generally until people tell me to shut up and go away. But if we got people waiting for me to actually explain things or do things, then I'm going to be switching over to that, because we're so far behind. I kind of feel bad. I'm going to have to probably schedule that as a totally separate thing. I don't think it's going to work to tag team it in at the end of these channel update things, because you guys are just too curious. Bunch of curious monkeys. We're going to get one just to cause that to happen. What does the Rat King do? Why is people running off? It's because he randomly mutates you on the rat line. The longer you're in the cave, the more rat mutations he inflicts upon you. Kind of like a Yug. Same basic idea. You just constantly mutate while you're down there. Take a look at my prison escape scenario. One of my quick slip videos was all about that exact run. It was me coming out of a Rat King cave. So... Get to the new stuff. Can wait. Here just for your voice. Alright. Can you give me advice on how to survive on a megacity? Yeah, get to the residential area. Get to the residential part, run straight for it, and then find a basement. That's pretty much all you need to know. If you watch any of my videos that I do megacity starts in, well, I guess the Fire Station Z one I didn't really do that, but generally speaking, way easier to successfully maneuver through houses and avoid zombies. And always go to the nearest residential district. That's the best answer you're going to get, is run for the houses, wherever the biggest group is closest to you, and skip around between the houses looking for a basement you can jump into, and then make that your home. Just hang out down there for an hour or two so things upstairs settle out, and then make occasional forays out to the houses around the area until you get all your basic info taken care of. And that'll do it. Yeah, I meant it to be a meet Vormithrax and ask questions. I just didn't anticipate the first part of me speechifying so much. It took so long. The question and answer part, I'm fine. I got time. I just didn't want to disappoint people looking for specific Cataclysm answer or questions. Yeah, Seath's review is pretty commonly quoted entry point for Cataclysm. It's a hilarious video. A lot of it's wrong, but it's a hilarious video. I have no capacity to make a video of that type, so don't have the talent for that kind of thing. Another bow-only challenge. You ping me when they fix the bows and the arrows. When they're all done and they've all been updated properly, ping me and I'll add it to the list of challenges. What do if you end up spawning in a tiny city far away from the rest of civilization? That's part of the problem with answering questions like that is it's so situationally dependent on the person playing and their experience, the map generation and what specific buildings are nearby, how they built the character that they're using. To answer, I'd have to ask a whole bunch of questions, so it's really tough to answer that kind of thing. What kind of music does Uncle Vorm like, and what kind of smartphone is he rocking? How to answer that? I'm a world music kind of guy. I don't pay much attention to whatever's hot on the charts and that kind of stuff. I don't know. Lots of world music, instrumental, EDM, dance, um, all that kind of stuff. I gravitate all over the damn place for music, really. I got some pretty eccentric listening styles. I'll put some on at some point on a Twitch stream when I don't have to worry about um, copyright issues and all that kind of stuff. What are some good mid-game goals for players who have solved the early game survival? Quill stopped his playthrough because he didn't have stuff to do. The problem with answering that is there are so many. I tend to pick... I try to come up with a... Well, I mean, I guess one way to answer the question is go watch the first 5 minutes of any of the last 40 challenge series on my YouTube channel. The first 5 minutes of each series, I basically talk about what the challenge is, what artificial goals or limits I've placed on myself, how the character's built, that kind of thing. So that would give you a good medley if you just go kind of peruse the first few minutes of a bunch of the different challenges. But it depends a lot on your skill level and what you've already done in the game and that kind of stuff. But I tend to set short to midterm goals myself. Not a big fan of the end game for Cataclysm. It's basically the variety stops at you can either face tank a burst of bullets or you can't. So that's really where end game occurs. So you can either face tank it or you can't, because all the damage at that point is the only thing dangerous to you is a face full of bullets. So I tend to do early to mid game stuff as my most enjoyable stuff for the challenge and all that. But I don't know. I set funny, weird, challenging goals every once in a while. I got all sorts of stuff on the challenges on my YouTube channel. Favorite enemy in the game? Damn it, you guys are... Chat's starting to get ahead of my answers again. Favorite enemy. I think my favorite enemy to meet is... what's his name? It's the cow guy. I want to say Gozu, but it's not. Is it Gozu? Am I thinking right? For some reason, my brain is flailing away here, but it's the cow guy. I almost never see him other than my hallucinations when I'm schizophrenic. Is night vision the most OP talent? You take it really often. There's a reason to take it really often. It's 2 points. I mean, it's not really, is it OP for the game purposes? Is it OP for what you could get as a benefit with the same amount of points in other ways? I have a hard time claiming one thing's OP and another's not. I mean, it's a single-player game where I can play with 10 times zombie spawn and 4 times zombie speed. Is night vision OP in that circumstance? I mean, it's so situational and so hard to say. I mean, if I play freestyle character build and I have 30 strength and 30 dex, is it OP then? So I don't like getting into OP conversations because the game's so variable. I mean, under what rule set are you declaring something OP or not OP? I do take it pretty often, mostly because I tend to sneak around at night. I occasionally will purposely force myself to play with no night vision and low perception. My personal style or character slant does tend towards better night vision, though. So, yep, it's a personal foible of my own, but I do purposely avoid the choice on occasion as well, just for the variety. You're going to find me and vigorously shake my hand. All right. Well, we'll see. Seath's review? Oh, you can't miss Seath's review. Seath, Seth, whichever it is. I always want to say Seath. Do you get post-threshold mutations from the Rat King, and do you get them even when you are post another one? No. You can't get post anything after you've got one already. And as far as I know, Rat King does not give you post. It's been a long time since I sat in the cave and let him inflict it on me, though, so that's going by my long ago knowledge on it. What's your favorite building? Favorite? They're adding so many. It's kind of hard to say a favorite. I know I like and hardly ever see anymore the junkyard. I like the junkyard, but mostly because it's usually got the welding rig and the all the materials you might need for a lot of the early game fun metalworking stuff. What kind of smartphone? No, I am not an Apple guy. I cannot stand Apple's business model and closed ecosystem. I'm an Android guy. Which phone? It's an old phone. I don't pay much attention to my phones. Yes, you can have CBMs and mutations at the same time. There's no conflict there. Favorite mutation tree? Yeah, somebody asked earlier. I've only actually followed maybe 6 of the total mutation trees, so I'd have to pick from one of those, but mouse is the one that came to mind. I really enjoyed my Mighty Mouse challenge with the mouse run, but certain people need not apply. A lot of folks, a lot of you pack rat hoarders, you RPS sufferers, you ridiculous pack rat syndrome sufferers. You just can't do with small characters that go tiny and can't carry anything. You go into little fits of paroxysms whenever you get your weight carrying capacity or your volume carrying capacity reduced. So I like it. It's good. Good challenge. It's okay. It's OP because I take it so often. All right. Must be then. Hey there, John. Welcome. Any other games you love other than CDDA? Lots and lots and lots of them. Lots and lots of them. I'm trying to dig into Fantasy General 2 right now. That's a sequel to one of my old favorites back from 1996? 86? Crap, I can't remember. 96, I think. Somewhere back there. Just tons of them. I mean, I play a lot of games. Have you ever played Dwarf Fortress? I have. Been 4 or 5 years. No, I am not going to play it on the channel. Awesome game. Great game. Love it. Not going to play it. I can't fit it into my brain at the same time as Cataclysm. All right, let's call a halt to the general chatter now. We're at 2 hours. I refuse to go any further. So that's it. No more. Now, I was originally going to stop the stream and restart it, but after the really bad situation we had at the start of this one, I don't think I'm going to try to do that. So if there are any people that have very, very patiently been waiting for an opportunity to ask new player Cataclysm questions, and or want a demonstration of something in game, let me know in chat. I'm mostly going to ignore other questions for now. I need to turn the focus to new player Cataclysm stuff. So thank you very much, everybody, for sticking around for the channel update portion and my blatant begging for channel support. You can look forward to that once a month now. I'll mention it a lot more briefly in future ones, but support your channels. Not just mine. Mine, yes, support me too, but any channel that's small, that is unique-ish, and provides content you find yourself enjoying quite often, please, 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 do what you can to support them directly. It's stupid important. It makes a huge difference, not just in just putting money in the pocket so they can do it, but in enthusiasm. I mean, getting that kind of feedback and finding out that people find your contribution valuable has a really, really big morale effect on anybody that's trying to do this whole YouTube thing. So make sure you do try to do what you can to reward them as possible. All right, so we're done. That's it for that stuff. Anybody have specific questions about Cataclysm that has not been scared off by the 2-hour lead up? Oh, I am definitely going to do this again, but not tag it behind this channel update stuff. Any tips for me trying Inner Woods to make it less boring but still keep the Inner Woods thing? No. I have no tips. It's boring. And it gets worse as you get to know the game better. It becomes boring and easy. So I have no tips for you. I don't generally do Inner Woods. I've been requested to do Inner Woods, and I just generally say thank you, but no thank you. It's not interesting. It removes too much of the gameplay, and it lacks challenge once you get to a certain point in your knowledge of the game. Is there a way to set up a renewable food source, or is constant roaming for new zones the only reliable way to get food? Typically what happens is a player in Cataclysm kind of progresses from day 1 to day 5 is mostly what do, what do I do, how do I do it, where are all the buttons that I need to press, what's possible to do, that kind of thing. Once you graduate away from that, then it becomes how do I set up a cool base. Once you've gotten a bit of that, then it becomes how do I make a cool mobile base. Then after that, you kind of got to make up your own thing. If you get to the point where you're making, modding, designing your own mobile base, then you really just have to find your own fun and make up your own challenges and all that. But renewable food source, I don't want to say the word, but there is a word that starts with F and ends in ing that you won't see on my channel, but I've heard that it's possible to do. I personally consider it silly nonsense, but it can be done, but other people will have to show you how. So, chat's mentioning it, but I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to talk about it. There is no way to set up a renewable food source other than that method. Back when we had cockroaches hatching out of bodies, then you could farm roaches, but that got removed. So, beyond that, not really. You just have to learn to optimize your food prep and preservation processes. Once you've done that, you've got some charcoal and some smoking racks and that stuff, or food dehydrators, whatever. Go kill a couple big animals, moose, owlbears, trolls. Do a full butcher on it with some decent skill, and then have like half a dozen smoking racks ready to go. And you'll cook yourself up enough meat in a single day of hunting to feed yourself for 6 months of game time. So you'll want to supplement that with some other, hopefully more nutritious foods and multivitamins and all that. But really, it's a matter of advancing to the point where you're either mobile, in which case you can scrounge up food wherever you go pretty easily, or if you're static, then you got to optimize your food preservation. And get a freezer going, smoke up a whole mess of meat, and store it. And there you go. How do you set up beginning, good production, and storage? Yeah, that's moving a little bit towards the mid-game portion. I'm not sure you really need storage unless you're mobile, unless you're trying to find storage in a vehicle, in which case it's just cargo spaces. That's really the only answer. For a base, it really doesn't matter. You got as many spaces as you need to drop stuff. If you didn't know, floor spaces hold 1,000 liters, and certain pieces of furniture can hold more. Bookcases and lockers and things like that will hold additional quantities. So if you need to have a whole bunch of something in one space, then use one of those other furniture types to be able to store it properly. But beyond that, I don't know, you got zones you can use. You can craft anything within 5 spaces of movement of your character. So, does food in the kitchens rot even in every faraway undiscovered map tiles, or will it? After 10 years, only unperishable stuff remained. Food does rot over time away from your location. So if you spend a bunch of time in one place and it's summertime and you drive then to a new town and you go into a grocery store, most of the perishable food is going to be completely rotten. All the milk will be rotten, all the vegetables will be rotten, all that stuff will be rotten. It'll do that too a lot of time. I believe it does it automatically when you do a summer start or a winter start as well. So it does age up or age on the food supplies. Could Ant Hills be turned into a meat farm? Yeah, they can. I mean, how many ants do you really need? It's not so much getting the animals, it's getting full butchering. I mean, you magnify the meat return way more by getting a full butchering rack set up with all the necessary tools, the saw and so on, the tarp, however you want to do it, or the table. But getting a butchering setup done, then bringing the animals to the butchering setup or having the portable versions taken to the animal area and doing full butchering of any medium-sized animal or preferably large animals, you're going to have more meat than you can possibly do with. Unless you've got a massive row of like 10 smoking racks and 4 charcoal kilns running non-stop, at which you've chopped down half a forest to feed it charcoal, or feed it wood to make charcoal, you're going to have stupid, ridiculous amounts of food regardless. So if you've got a beehive nearby, if you've got an anthill nearby, those are the two easy food sources, beehives and anthills. Any of those nearby are within traveling distance for you, and you'll have, by early or mid-early to mid game, I guess I'll term it, when you can take those creatures on with not much danger, you're going to have an infinite supply of food. I mean, you'll have food just for just years, basically, before you would deplete any of that stuff. What are some good ways to keep your health stat high? I've been taking multivitamins daily, but my health stat is low and I've got the cold. Well, multivitamins do nothing for your health stat. Used to be, this is one of those old wisdom type of things that I talked about that I'm constantly having to quash. Used to be, it had an effect. Has no effect. Vitamins are their own separate thing. They have their own separate system, their own separate consequences. They're not tied directly to the health stat. So multivitamins is doing nothing for your health stat. Health stat, to keep it high, eat good food. Stop eating potato chips and pork rinds and raw, or not raw, but meat only, things like that. Those all have a slow tick down effect on your health stat. You want to be eating at least semi-often, or as often as you can, healthy foods like salads, soups. V8 is one of the most beneficial. Protein drinks. Basically, if it's supposedly healthy in real life, it's going to be healthier for you in Cataclysm. Junk food is bad, so lay off the cereal and the candy and all that kind of stuff and try to eat the other stuff. Now, with that said, it's a slow process. It takes a long time for your health stat to degrade through that kind of eating, and it also takes a long time for it to return to equilibrium. Your health stat works like your morale and focus and so on. It has a point that it returns to. So if it's negative, it'll return to a 0 point eventually, with no other factors involved and you not interfering. If it's positive, it'll downgrade to 0. So it's always trending to 0, to a neutral state. So if you are just starting the game and the first item you find is a gamma globulin shot, don't take that right then. It's useless, because if you take it, yes, you boost your health stat, but it's going to degrade back down again, likely to the point where it's neutral again by the time you actually need it. Save that for a time when you have been infected, you've been radiated, you've been eating poorly for a period of time, and you're not healing all that much when you sleep. That's when you want to use your gamma globulin shot, because that'll give you an instant large boost to the actual health stat, not just the health stat modifier, which is what is actually controlling your, when you eat your food items and that. It moves the modifier up and down. The modifier then, on certain time occasions, is referenced, reduced, and then used to change the health stat itself. It's complicated. You can look it up on the wiki, but basically you can't expect big swings in your health stat regardless. Gamma globulin shots are the one thing that will move it short of the CBM. There's the CBM, and I've forgotten the name of it. Leukocyte breeder system. That's the only thing that you can do other than gamma globulin that will radically influence your hidden health stat. So it takes time to move it either direction. So blah, blah, blah. Pick the cannibal trait. Look for fresh doom dead from. Yeah, okay. Good targets for night raids the first few nights. Houses. Just houses. Stick to houses. Houses have the best chance for all-around stuff you're going to need the first few nights. So concentrate on houses. You're going to get cooking implements. You need a pot, so that's always high on my priority list. You're going to need, usually, maybe some clothes. That's the most common place to get them. You have a chance to get tools. You have a chance to get medical gear in the bathrooms, so disinfectant and antibiotics and first aid kits. You've got all the kitchen food items. It's also the best place to get gallon jugs for whatever use, whether they've got milk in them or not, or you can empty them out if they're like ammonia or bleach. But gallon jugs are pretty important depending on which start you have in your scenario. So I always try to focus on secure my food, secure my cooking tool, secure my hydration, and depends on what start I'm using, what scenario I'm using, whether I'll, like the evac shelter start, a lot of this is already solved, but for other start types, you don't have that ease. So food, hydration, get all that solved, have ways of making sure you can get that done right away. Make sure you secure that first. Clothes and tools are probably my next most important, and getting some disinfectant. Disinfectant is way high on my list. Because if you got disinfectant, you don't need antibiotics. So you should not be getting infections if you have disinfectant. So you don't really need a first aid kit necessarily. Bandages are great. You need bandages and disinfectant for healing fast right now because of the changes. But houses have all this stuff. So anywhere else you go, you might get certain specific things at a higher rate. But when you're in the first few days, you need a little bit of a lot of different things. Houses have the best variety. And they're the safest to move through. So you've got usually doors and windows on all four walls with multiple exit points. So if you run into a problem, you've usually got a retreat path that you can use to lose pursuers. Is it possible to deal with Tweaker and Addictive Personality combo without PC burning a blaze of interruptions? No. I already I already chimed in on the Reddit on somebody complaining about the interruption cascade that occurs in a number of circumstances. So, no. Is there any way to know by looking at an enemy if a cut bash weapon is better? No, there is not. Not really. There's the age-old wisdom that Dungeons & Dragons teaches about using cut and pierce type weapons on skeletons. That's kind of a giveaway if you're familiar with those original sources. You want to bash skeletons? That's old wisdom there. But beyond that, nah, you just kind of assume from your knowledge of the thing you're hitting and what it's wearing if it's a humanoid. But the natural stuff where you just kind of guess, you really don't know. You have to look it up, basically. Does flu shot give complete immunity forever? I don't know, honestly. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's a forever thing or if it's a seasonal thing or how they've got that coded. I so seldom get colds or flus. I mean, keep your health stat up, and if you're at all thinking you're susceptible, throw on a dust mask. Or whatever level mask you can put up with the mouth encumbrance causing stamina drain to protect yourself. Flus and colds act like attacks against your mouth. So if you have any mouth protection gear, the environmental protection factor of the gear on your mouth acts as armor against an attack by flu infection or the spores and colds and things like that. So there is a use for putting those things on your face. I started with 0 fab, don't know any recipes to craft after I read a book, fab book, that contains recipes. Does my character memorize them, or in order to craft it have to carry it around? It's a bit of a complex process there, but generally you don't memorize. Okay. When you gain a level in a skill, certain recipes are auto-learned. At the time you gain the level, they'll automatically show up on the list, and you don't need a book or anything else nearby. Recipes specific to books, though, you only memorize on a random chance when you successfully craft the item. So you have to craft it first. When you succeed at crafting it, there's then a die rolled, and you may or may not memorize the recipe. Sometimes you have to craft it a bunch of times. I believe disassembling the items also gives you a chance of memorizing the recipe. But you will have to carry books around typically. So, and the color of the book denotes whether or not it's totally useless to you now, which is a gray color. If it's gray, you can toss it. It's not going to teach you any skill, you can't skill up off of it, and you have memorized every recipe in it. If it's blue, you want to keep it around because you can still use it for various purposes. If it's purple, you can't use it yet. There's a whole color coding system. I've got a video on it on my YouTube channel. How do you not get a cold before you get a chance to raise health stat? How often are you getting sick in the first week? I mean, I've got scores of challenges up. I don't think anybody can name the last time I got a cold or a flu in any of my challenges. And I mean, I start with the worst traits and the worst scenarios and the worst characters in the game a lot of times. Shouldn't be a really common thing. I can only remember 2 or 3 times where I've gotten a cold or a flu in recent memory. And I've had some pretty trashed health stats. So I'm not sure how to answer that. The way to not get a cold, if you know you might be susceptible to your health stat, is to wear mouth protection. Something with the highest environmental protection rating you can get that's not going to cause you to not be able to regain your stamina. If it's skeletal or Kevlar or military zombies, you might want to go bash heavy. Oh yes, that's correct. Bash damage against heavily armored guys. Their cut ratings and pierce protection ratings tend to be pretty high. Do you think survival is useful if you're not spending time in the wilderness or are already well into tools? I don't myself. I don't often raise my survival skill above 3. 3 seems to get me most of the recipes that I might need to get access to in the early to early mid game. Beyond that, I mean, it used to be more important because it used to be tied to the dissection chances, but when they switched butchery and all that kind of stuff around and dissection and that to different skills, I don't find survival at higher, even mid levels, all that important anymore. What would it take to sway your opinion on NPCs? Farming. Farming? Never. Not until... Alright, I will say never, but not likely anytime in the remote future. On NPCs, I occasionally do NPC runs, but I mentioned earlier, I'm really waiting and holding out for a general overhaul of the whole NPC system. It's coming. They're planning, and they've been planning it for a while, and they've been working on it for a while, but it's still a ways out, I think. They've made some incremental improvements here and there, so it's better. They're quite a bit better than they used to be, but I don't think they're the point yet where I can really put myself into a game plan or a challenge where I'm going to rely on them a lot. It's just, there's enough micromanagement in the game already, and a lot of this is personal, so, I mean, don't anybody that's watching this take it as me suggesting you not play with NPCs. Very much not saying that. What I'm saying is, in my personal circumstance, in my personal play style and preferences, I can't stand things. They're just... The micromanagement necessary to get them to behave in a way that I think is useful and functional is not there yet, and I can't take them with me anywhere because I am so geared in my mind and in my play style to be a high mobility character. I don't fight my way out of things generally. I run. I mean, my kill counts are pretty low unless I'm very specifically doing some kind of a mass kill game. So I'm more of an avoid danger kind of guy than a get in and scrum and kill zombies for the sake of killing zombies. So because of that, and because of my movement habits, NPCs are suicide. I mean, they can't keep up with me as I'm hopping through windows and doors and around corners and slamming doors behind me when I'm being closely followed by predators and all that kind of stuff. So they're great if you just want to form a line and march down a street and mow zombies down by the hundreds, which is really hard to do now as well, but you kind of get the idea. But for a high mobility character, nope, not worth it. Not even remotely. So NPCs are decent enemies too. I don't find them so with guns involved. I mean, getting shot in the face and just instantly dying to an NPC with a gun is not all that interesting. That's more of a conceit or a problem with the general game balance than it is a negative against the NPCs. But, yeah. Best traits to start for a first-time player. I generally recommend they stick to fairly obvious traits that have a benefit they can see and feel is tangible to their gameplay. There are a lot of powerful combinations in Cataclysm, a lot of variety, a lot of options you can take, and you can stack certain combos of things, meaning traits and martial arts styles and stats and so on, that really, really multiply the power factor of the character. But a new player is not going to understand all that. They're not going to have the ability to put that to use or to use it effectively. So I usually recommend just keeping to really obvious things. Night vision, of course, that's very obvious and an easy benefit to understand and to actually put into play in the game. Things like Pack Mule, all new players are pack rats. They all want to go collect them all. They want to gather up all the stuff. All the stuff out in the Cataclysm belongs to them. They just need to get it relocated to their base. So Pack Mule, Strong Back, those kinds, Quick, Fleetfoot. I mean, stick to the real basic stuff that you can read the description and say, okay, yep, I understand exactly. Even though I've never played the game before, if I read this description and I have any experience at all with survival games, roguelike games, role-playing games, I can understand how that works, how I can put it to use, and how I can benefit from it. Too much of the other stuff is esoteric, fun stuff, but it's pretty hard to understand what it's going to do to actual gameplay. Blue shot is forever, states the wiki. States the wiki. You didn't put a sarcasm face next to that states the wiki comment. All power to the wiki, but do not be taking the wiki as the one true gospel. That thing is pretty hit or miss on what you can rely on accuracy-wise. What is required for makeshift disinfectant? I've never made it. I don't know. What is required for makeshift disinfectant? One second. Let me find my Cataclysm screen. Oh, let's do that a little better. Shift disinfectant. It requires denatured alcohol or ethanol and cooking of 0. That's it. Provides average and very good disinfectant. 95% chance to heal a bite wound, which is good. It's pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. So, doesn't take anything really. But it does require tools, none. This looks a little weird to me. And portions. You're turning denatured alcohol and ethanol into 10 portions of makeshift disinfectant. Basically, you're just cutting this down into separate portions and using it directly. I don't think you're actually making anything. We're really just changing names and making it change from denatured alcohol or ethanol, and we're calling it disinfectant after the fact. So, doesn't seem to require anything to me. As long as you got those two other items. What is the super electric motor and where can I get it? Is that the one in sports cars? Is that the one I'm remembering? I want to say that's the one in sports cars, but I could be wrong. Let's do, come here, you. Let's teleport out of the zoo. Long range teleport. Oh, let's go down here to the middle of the field. Spawn me a vehicle. Sports car. Electric sports car. Alright, electric sports car. What do you got? Enhanced. So that's not the super. I don't remember. Super is, I know I've seen it. I just can't remember where I've seen it. Alright, I gotta stop clicking on my camera screen. Default recommended loadout for mouth eyes for regular raiding. None and none. At most, safety goggles. You gotta be careful because when you put eye encumbrance on, it cuts down your night vision. I don't know the exact number that it occurs at. I think even as low as 5 points of eye encumbrance will drop your night vision by 1 space. So, one single space of night vision is incalculably valuable. I can't think of any eye encumbrance that is going to be worth losing one space of night vision. So I recommend none and none. Now for mid-late game, Survivor Mask. Light Survivor Mask usually is what I go for. But for early game, none and none. It's too situational. You're not going to find hardly any gas zombies, bloaters, or smoke zombies anymore in the early game. All of the specialized zombies have disappeared except shockers. So shady zombies are gone, shady zombies are gone, poison zombies are gone, acid zombies are gone, smoke zombies are gone. I don't see any of those guys anymore in the early game. I see shockers all over the damn place for some reason. But all of the other evolved versions of the zombies aren't showing up in the early game anymore. So it's not really as critical to be carrying around breathing protection and eye protection and so on, because there's almost no zombies that'll do that to you. So things have changed. We know you hate farming. What about animal husbandry? It's the same thing. Why? Why bother? I mean, if you're interested in the topic, go crazy, have fun, but there's not a particular need for it to survive in the Cataclysm. Same with farming. I mean, it's an activity. You can do it, sure. You go have fun with it, but it's not something you need to be doing to stay alive or anything like that. It's not survival-oriented. Is there really any need for firearms early game? Almost none, in my opinion. If you watch any of my challenge series, how often do you see me fire a gun in the first week? Well, that's not quite fair. I advanced through the early mid-game pretty quickly, but I don't fire a gun much in the late game. I mean, my total rounds fired in the average challenge, the entire challenge I do, can probably usually be counted in a single clip. I very rarely empty a clip. So I've gotten way out of the habit of bothering to pick up a lot of weapons. I get a lot of grief from people yelling at me about, why didn't you pick this up, that ammo's compatible with that, this and that and the other, and I don't need it. I don't use it. Why pick it up if I know I'm never going to use it? So occasionally, yes, it will rarely get me into mild trouble, but I have never once on camera after a challenge died and then said, wow, if only I had another 5 rounds of shotgun ammo or whatever ammo of choice. Just doesn't happen. Not usually what is any kind of a reason for me dying. What was that screen you were on that showed the recipe? It looked different from the craft screen I usually use. Recipes don't appear there for me if I don't know them. Well, let's go look. So, let me get out of the vehicle. So this is the crafting menu by default when it comes up. Now, I should preface, we gotta have a conversation about when people ask questions. Here's a pet peeve of mine. People ask questions, I try to answer. They tell me it's not working or something's not looking right. I evaluate, give a new answer. I ask half a dozen more questions. Then I find out they're playing on Android and it's a 0.c version from 5 years ago. That annoys me. So, unfairly probably, but there's a lot of versions of the game out there and there's several platforms you can play it on. So I gotta be cautious sometimes about answering certain things certain ways. Let's hope, in a perfect world, we're all playing the current experimental, or relatively current, so we're all on the same basic game. So the screens should look the same, or close to the same, but this is the general crafting screen. I mean, Shift 7 on my Americanized keyboard, the @ symbol, brings the crafting screen up. Now the only difference is, if you hit the Tab key, you can tab across to all of these recipes. Now I've got all the recipes unlocked. This is a test character in a test world. So there's a lot of recipes showing for this guy, but that's because he knows everything. But that's the way to move back and forth across the top there, is the different categories. Now what I was doing though is I was hitting this to search for a particular thing. So I was typing the / key to bring up the search menu and then searching for whatever. So in that case it was the makeshift disinfectant. So that then brings up just things that match that particular search, and I can see the details on it. So if you're not seeing this screen, we're gonna have to have a conversation in a little more depth about how you're crafting, because this is the crafting screen. Is it possible to fix cyborgs to make them friendly? No, it is not. Not broken cyborgs. You can do prototypes, you can't do broken. And I've answered a few times in a few different places on the exact process to do it. It's fairly high-end to be able to do it, so... I don't know, that's kind of spoilery. I don't know if I'm going to give that information on a general early game new player tutorial. That's not new player stuff. You started seeing acid recently. If you say so. I'm not seeing him early game. Wear the light survivor mask all the time? I do. As soon as I get the light survivor mask, I just put it on and deal with it. I adapt my stamina usage to having the survivor mask on at all time, but I play at accelerated evolution factors, so by day 30, I'm usually swimming in ferals and predators and hulks and smoke and poison and so on. So your game might be differently paced depending on how fast you advance through things and what your world settings are on. So don't take my advice as a standard answer. It varies very much based on your play style, play ability, how fast you advance, and your world settings. So you just got to adapt. I'm not saying you can't see those random things, the acids and so on. You're not seeing them by default right away, though, unless you've got... I don't know, unless things have changed in the last 3 days since well, I haven't started a new game in a little bit longer than that, but they can be in the world. They're just nowhere near as prevalent as they used to be right at the start. Is there any way you can check the magic paths for the new magic mod without committing to one first? What do you mean by check? What do you mean by check them? You mean see details about it? You'd have to do all that offline. There isn't a way to do it in-game via the interface. The only part of that process that mildly annoys me is you have to read the book, spend the hour, 2 hours, whatever the time frame is to study the book initially, or the spell that is. Then after you've spent all that time, that's when it tells you which magic path you're about to lock yourself into. I wish I knew beforehand so I wouldn't spend the 2 hours. If I knew it was a Magus book immediately, then if I didn't want to do Magus, I wouldn't even spend the 2 hours to read the spell in that depth. But now, beyond that, I'm not aware of any way to get any details. Your current LP of Cyborg Revolution, you plan to recruit cyborgs, I think. Yes, that was the plan, is the plan. Realize any talk about current YouTube premiering episodes was 3 to 4 months ago in memory for me. So it's harder for me to answer questions about what's going on there. I don't really pay attention to what the current release episode is. Enemy difficulty color does not scale. Color is fixed. When the creatures are created, whoever creates the creature picks a damage or danger level and assigns the color. It does not change according to your character. It is a fixed value. For anybody wondering what we're talking about. Oops. Do another teleport here, although all of this stuff... actually, no. Yeah, we'll do this. Spawn. Monster. Oh, let's do a Gozu. Let's do Shock. Skeleton. Do yeah, we'll do Amigo. Migo Slaver? That was a Migo Slaver. Migo Myrmidon? New Migo stuff. Is that part of the Migo camp thing or whatever? I haven't seen any of that yet. And then we'll do like a Jabberwock. Alright, so. Well, I picked all red stuff. Alright, that's not quite what I was trying to do. Monster. Zombie. And then finally, the dreaded squirrel. Okay, so if you look here, whoops, damn it, my pointer's not in the right spot again. Over in this area, notice how there's color coding for all the names? That's what we're talking about. Those color codes are hardwired onto the creature when they're created by whoever sets them up. They do not change, they do not modify based on the power level or skills of your character. They are set the way they are. So the squirrel is gray, that's the least dangerous color, and it gets brighter and or shades towards red as things get more and more dangerous. So Jabberwock, Skeletal, Gozu, Migo are all the highest level danger factor, although Jabberwock's way the hell more dangerous than Amigo is. But there you go. No changing that. Those are all hardwired into the game. Is there a guide for the magic mod online? There is. One moment. My face gets really bright because I opened up a new window and my monitor is pelting me with light. Alright, where are you? Alright, that's where you want to go. That'll give you all the details that's currently available. What's a Gozu? Gozu's that cow guy. That's a Gozu. You don't often see Gozu. I think I've only encountered him once in the actual flesh. Can you get a good look at Gozu there? Oh, I got the thing. Hold on a second. Let me, Good enough. There's Gozu. Isn't he pretty? Kind of like a Minotaur guy. I see him quite often when I'm doing a schizophrenia run with hallucinations and all that. Yeah, the Migo camp. I'd heard about that, but I haven't actually seen one yet or any of that. So, yeah, Buff Cowman is Gozu. At least that's what he looks like on the Some Dead Guy Undead version tile set. Yeah, I've only run into Skeletal Shocker once myself. He's pretty new as well. All right, I think I'm gonna wrap things up. We're fast approaching 3 hours. That's more than I thought I was going to be chatting away. So, any other last-minute newish player questions? If you've been patiently hanging out to ask questions, I'm pretty sure I lost a bunch of new players about hour 1.5 when I still hadn't fired that thing off. I will put out an apology and schedule a specific new player tutorial time frame away from the general chat stuff to get them helped out. And I'll set aside some regular time for that. But, yeah. How do you pull off morning raids without dying horribly? I watch my videos. I do it all the time. It really comes down to knowledge of the game, knowledge of the movement rates of the zombies, recognizing danger points, what to avoid. It takes practice, takes experience, but you can watch me do it in just about every video, every challenge run I do. I mean, I run through cities during the daytime hours, even on my try-hard settings. So it can be done, just takes practice, takes some knowledge, which is really cool in my opinion. It's not just straight up death or random factors. If somebody can do it regularly, which I can do it regularly, then it's not random. And I get annoyed when people say, oh, if you try to do this during the daylight, it's just random if you die. No, it is not. It comes very much down to player knowledge and experience. Can you die randomly? Oh, heck yeah. But it's much less random than a lot of people think. So, all right, well, that's it for this one. Thanks very much, everybody, for hanging out on my very first ever channel update / town hall / whatever this mishmash of chatting was. Appreciate everybody supporting the channel, hanging out. Any donations are greatly appreciated and very much needed for the channel to grow and continue. So if you can find your way to sacrificing a Happy Meal once a month or the cost of a latte at Starbucks and toss that to the channel's direction, it would be very helpful. So lots of ways to do that. Went over them before. You guys know them. I'll be back with another one of these, but a lot less general talky, hopefully, next time. It'll be the last Sunday of every month. I may move the time frame a little bit to try to catch a little more friendly time for the Euros, and we'll see what we can do. But thanks, everybody. Stay safe out there in your own cataclysms, and have a good day. Catch you later.